it's that time of year again, the time of year that I embarrass myself. It's time for my 2018-19 Premier League predictions. So, as I did with the Championship earlier, I'm going to go from the bottom up to the top. And I'm going to be reviewing who's going to get relegated and who's going to win the league and everywhere else in between. So we're going to start off with the bottom three. So in last place I've gone with Cardiff. If you look at their squad, they haven't got really any inspiring names, have they, in that team? It's pretty much a case of they're building not to be here in the long run. It looks like. So their manager as well, if you look at his history, he is not a Premier League manager. He really is a Championship manager. If you look who they've brought in Harry Arter, so that could help them. They've brought in Victor Camarasa, brought in Alex Smithies and Bobby Reid. Someone who could be key for them is obviously Junior Hoilett. But their squad, if you look at it overall, there's not much Premier League quality in there. Only Premier League quality I really see is Harry Arter and maybe Harry Arter, Junior Hoilett, and maybe Camarasa and Bobby Reid, who scored a lot of goals in the Championship. Other than that, I don't see any Premier League quality. Huddersfield, I've gone with in 19th. They've signed a lot of decent players, but they are just pretty much a load of rejects if you look at who they've signed. So they've signed Terence Congolo, they've signed Bakuna, who I've literally don't know nothing about, Adama Diakabe, who's a bit of a Monaco reject, as is Terence Congolo. They've signed Ramadan Sorby, who hasn't done it in the Premier League with Stoke. They've signed Isaac Mbenza, who everyone's thinking could be okay. They've got Hadi Yonaj permanently, and they've obviously got Eric Durm. But there's not really many players there that I can think will really have a good effect that they've signed. They've obviously lost Tom Ince as well. And I think second season syndrome will kick in. So now in 18th, I've gone with Southampton. I think they'll really have a massive downfall this season. They've lost Dusan Tadic. They've sent Boufal out on loan. They've obviously sent Guido Carrillo out on loan, which isn't a massive loss. They've signed Vestergaard, who could be okay. He did well in the Bundesliga, and a lot of Bundesliga players tend to come over here and do quite well. Who else have they signed? They've signed Elianusi from Basel. They've signed Stuart Armstrong. They've signed Danny Ings, but they really depend on Danny Ings to stay fit to score their goals. They've also signed Angus Dunn, a young Man City goalkeeper, in goal permanently. So that is interesting to see how they'll do, but I don't think it'll be that good this year for them, and I think they will face the drop. Now we're going to go for the rest of the bottom half of the table, from 17th all the way up to 11th. So this has changed a little bit from what I've got written down on the piece of paper that I've got in front of me, but it's very kind of similar. So it's Watford in 17th. I really predicted that they would get relegated because I don't see much in Javi Gracia, and they got a lot of their points from Marco Silva last year. But I think they will just stay up. They've obviously got quite a lot of deadwood. They've signed Domingos Quina from West Ham. They've signed Ben Foster. They've got Deulofeu permanently. But they have lost Richarlison. 50 million's a good deal, but they haven't really reinvested that money that they've got for him. So I think they will be lounging around the bottom, and we might see Javi Gracia lose his job very, very quickly. Now it's Brighton in 16th. They have made some absolutely great signings. They've signed Bizuma, they've signed Andern, they've signed Alireza Jahanbakhsh, they've signed Jason Steele and David Button. They've got Montoya as well, which is good, which is a great deal for them. So I think Brighton will do well. With Jahanbakhsh, it is another case of someone coming over from the Eredivisie and maybe potentially doing Locadia not doing anything as he's done for Brighton, or doing, I don't know, a Luis Suarez and doing really well and moving on to bigger and better things. So next, we're moving on to Newcastle. It's obviously been a very irritating summer for Rafa Benitez, you have to say. He's on limited budget, but he's made the best of it. He's made like 7 new signings. He's signed Ki Sung-young, Fabian Schär, Salomon Rondon's a great signing. Signed Dubravka permanently. Signed Kennedy again, who was great for them. Signed Yoshinori Muto. They've signed, and they've obviously got Federico Fernandez as well. That is some great business by Rafa Benitez. And I think Newcastle will struggle a bit more this year, but they definitely could finish higher. But I've put them in 15th just to be a bit safe. I was initially going to put them in like 11th, 12th, but I thought the teams around them have improved a lot more. And now I've realised I've got to move on quick. Crystal Palace, they've made some good signings. Cheikhou Kouyaté. They've signed Max Meyer as well. Surprised he was a free agent for so long. But I reckon Hodgson steadied that ship last year, and I reckon he'll just get a mid-table again. Bournemouth 13th, I reckon they could be surprise package. They've signed Lerma, Rico, Brooks from Sheffield United. I reckon they could do well this year, and I reckon they could be the surprise package. Burnley 12th, that really does depend on the Europa League. Obviously signed Ben Gibson, signed Joe Hart, but where they finish does depend on the Europa League. Leicester 11th, keeping Harry Maguire is pretty much a signing. Harry Maguire was brilliant, and he always has been brilliant. And I reckon that them keeping hold of him, only reason that they'll drop down the table is because teams around them have improved quite a lot. Because if you look at the teams that they're expected to be fighting, like teams like Wolves and teams like that, obviously they've improved a lot more. Leicester have, however, signed Johnny Evans, as I've said, kept hold of Harry Maguire, signed James Maddison, signed 2 young centre-backs, signed Ricardo Pereira, Gazelle. So their squad is good, and I reckon they'll finish just outside the top 10. So now, next up, we're going for 10th all the way up to 7th. Who is going to miss out on the Europa League, kind of. So, in 10th, I've gone with Fulham. They have made some absolutely phenomenal signings. They have signed Callum Chambers on loan from Arsenal. They've signed Mitrovic, who is their type of player. He's proved that he can do it for them. They've signed Schärrle, signed Maxime Le Marchand. They've signed Luciano Vietto. They've signed Andre Zambo Anguissa, Tim Fosu-Mensah, Sergio Rico, Fabry, the new goalkeeper. That's going to be tight for a fight between them. Alfie Mawson, Jean-Michel Seri. I've pretty much named them all there. Joe Bryan as well. They've got a really good squad, and I think they will finish in the top half of the table. Wolves. Oh my word. It is pretty much Wolves Club de Portugal at this point. They've obviously got links with Jorge Mendes. They've got a great manager. They've signed some great players. They've signed Rui Patricio on a free. Obviously, confirmed Willy Bolly. Got Johnny Castro. They've signed Leander Dendoncker as well, which is a great signing on loan. Adama Traore. Jota permanently. Raul Jimenez. They've obviously still got Ruben Neves as well, which is great for them. And João Moutinho, who's getting into his 30s now, but can still do it. And that is some great business by Wolves. Now it's West Ham. Last season it was quite an angry club, but now they've brought in a great manager and he's really spending money. He's obviously kept hold of people like Arnautovic, who was wanted earlier in the window, and they've added to that great squad, which is now a great squad. Felipe Anderson. They've got Jack Wilshere on a free. Andriy Yarmolenko, like what? They've signed Lucas Fabianski, Balbuena, Diop, Fredericks on a free, Perez, and Sanchez as well. So that is some great business by West Ham. And I can see them just like trying to creep in. We're getting ever closer towards that top 6. But in 7th, I've gone for Everton. Marco Silva, absolutely, I'm taking my hat off to him. I haven't even got a hat on. But well done, Marco Silva. On deadline day, you got the deals done, mate. Andre Gomez on loan from Barcelona. Lucas Digne permanently. Yerry Mina permanently. Good grief. Richarlison, it might be a bit overpriced. Bernard as well. Some great signings by Marco Silva, and they will be pushing to get into that top 6 with that squad. And Marco has a very organised team. So now we're going to move on to the Europa League spots. So I've gone for Man United in 6th. Let's face it, they've had a shocking transfer window. They've brought in Fred, who could do okay. Diot's good for the future, and Lee Grant just getting his final paycheck, innit? But they haven't really invested where they need to invest. Needed a defender, he didn't get one. And his third season meltdown that he gets every single time has already begun. And I don't think it'll be as bad as it was with Chelsea, but it could get that bad. So I've gone with them completely out the top 4. Chelsea in 5th. Yeah, they've got new manager Maurizio Sarri, Italian. Italians normally come in and win this league. Signed Jorginho. There was rumours about them signing Fekir. They've signed also Kepa. Lost Courtois, but they've got probably a better one for the future. And Chelsea, I reckon, will be pushing. So now it is the top 4 other than the top. So now we're going to do, you know what, scrap that, we're going to do 3rd and 4th. In fourth, I've gone with Tottenham. Haven't made any signs. The first team in Premier League history to do that in a summer window. But I reckon they've still got the team spirit, and contract signings are still as important. They've tied down Kane and Son and Eriksen. So I think they will still get top 4. Arsenal in 3rd. Emery's come in and had a really positive effect. I reckon Aubameyang and Lacazette could do really well. And you know what? I think Arsenal could do well. They maybe did need another defender, but I reckon Arsenal could do very well. So who has won the Premier League then? It is, for me, going to be... I do think that Liverpool will finally win the Premier League. They've signed some great players. They've signed Alisson, Keita, Fabinho, players like that. Shaqiri as well, which is a bargain at 13 mil. But they've still got a massive deficit to Man City, and I think it will be tight between those two, because Man City might get found out by teams about how they play, because they've done it consistently last year, and it is still a massive deficit to overhaul. But I think Liverpool can do that as long as they can kind of drown out most of those defensive errors. I think they can do it, and I think they will do it. I think Liverpool, this will be their year. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you later for the preview Hull City versus Sheffield Wednesday. Goodbye.